Hi guys, I am Mary Poplin, and today we're going to be going over how to track things in Mocha very simply, how to set up a project, how to track things from After Effects, right? So we're going to use this Artbeats footage that Artbeats was nice enough to lend us, and if you need footage, you should absolutely use their stuff. What we're going to do is we're going to come over here to our comp that we've made. It's a 1920 by 1080, 1:1, 2997 FPS project. Now, the only reason I mention that is because when we take this to Mocha, we're going to check those settings to make sure that it's correct. Now, you can use Matthias Moll's Mocha import to track things in Mocha, but I'm going to show you how to do it the no frills way. So we're going to close this, even though it's a great tool. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on the clip that I would like to use. In this case, we're going to use this trimmed movie, and I'm going to go to Animation, Track in Mocha for After Effects. Now, I'm using Adobe CC with Mocha AE, but you can use any version of it. Now, if you haven't registered your Mocha AE that comes with After Effects, you definitely should. Registering your free version of Mocha for After Effects makes it to where we can prove that you have it, and this comes in handy if you ever want to upgrade to a different version of Mocha Pro, so definitely make sure that you do register. Just fill out your information and send it in. Now, what I was saying is that this is the version of Mocha that comes with After Effects. Okay, so we have shipped with After Effects since CS4. Now, what we're going to do is, this is going to give us a new project dialog. So in this new project dialog, we're going to make sure that we're using the right clip, and we're going to make sure that we are saving it to the right place. Going to check our frame range, make sure that's correct, frame rate, and our pixel aspect ratio, and we're just going to go ahead and hit OK. Alright, and if you ever want to double check your settings, you can check them in your clip tab. Now from here what we're going to do is we're going to attach some text or some particles to the side of this bridge. Maybe we're going to do both. Now to do that, we're going to need to track this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to use my X-Spline layer tool, create X-Spline layer tool. So the way we're going to handle this shot is that Mocha is a planar tracker, right? That means it's not a point tracker, it's not a feature tracker, it doesn't think the same way. So we're going to track from our area of the most detail to our area of the least detail, which is going to be the beginning of the shot. So because this is largest here, we're going to come in here. I'm going to grab the side of this bridge. Okay? Now we're also going to come in here and we're going to use the Add X-Spline to Layer tool, and we're just going to grab some of this part of the bridge. Okay, now you'll notice as I continue to add X-Splines to this layer, one of the things that we are doing is we are looking for data that's on the same plane. I'm not tracking multiple planes at once, I'm continuing to track objects that are co-planar. Okay, this is an important concept. Alright, so what we're going to do from here is we're going to track translation, scale, rotation, shear, and perspective. Now we're doing that because this is moving in Z-space. If there was no shear and perspective happening, I would leave it off, but we are using this, so we're going to hit track backwards. And if these thumbnails ever bother you over here, we're just going to cut them off like this. And I'm going to speed this track up so that you don't necessarily have to watch this like watching paint dry. But we're also going to turn our grid and surface tool on so we can see what the track is doing. Now, we're getting a problem here, and that is we're getting a whole lot of drift, okay? So what I actually want to do to get rid of that is I'm going to go ahead and turn shear and perspective off and keep tracking backwards, and that should get rid of that drift. Never be afraid to change your parameters in order to make your track work. Alright, and it looks like we're still getting drift, which in my best estimation is going to be due to these cars that are moving under the bridge. So let's try to do something about that. Sometimes things that you don't think are going to affect your track are going to affect your track. So let's just come in here and let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of these splines I was trying to use to track. Let's retry that. Alright, so the answer is yes, the cars were messing up our track, so we just deleted those problem shapes. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to export our tracking data. And we're going to actually export our transform data, okay, and we're going to copy this to the clipboard. Now, we can do a couple of things with this. We can come into After Effects and we can go to Layer, New, Null Object. We can go to Edit, Paste, come to our null object. We can get rid of our anchor point. And we now have a null that moves properly with our bridge. And we can hook stuff up to this null, so if I wanted to put titles into this this shot for some reason, you know, I could bring my text tool in here and I could say Mocha Rocks, because I'm shamelessly plugging my software, you know, and I could put this in a different font so that it didn't look quite so funky. We could bring the size up, and we could move this along with our bridge. So we would just hook this up to our bridge here, and now Mocha will move with our bridge. So we end up with something that looks like that. That moves more or less in similar space. Or we can use this to hook up things like our Plexus Tools. Now to do that, what I need to do is I actually need to take my data that I moved onto my null. I need to copy it, and I need to go to Layer, New, Solid, and we're going to create a solid called Plexus. Okay, we're going to turn that off for a second, and then we're going to go to Layer, New, Light. We're going to call this our Plexus Light, and we're going to go ahead and hit OK. And on this Plexus Light, we're just going to paste our data so that we move our light along in 3D space. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and we are going to, I'm actually probably going to change the way this is oriented. Although it doesn't really matter as far as the light goes, it's going to generate the particles anyway. So we're going to call that Plexus Light, alright? And we're going to hide it so that we don't have to look at it. Alright, I'm going to add a null over here. I'm going to duplicate my light and I'm going to hook it up to my null. And we're going to use this to offset our light. And we're going to do some Plexus shapes between these two lights. Alright, so we're going to go back over to our Plexus shape. Effect, Robite, Plexus. And we are going to go ahead and run through and see how these look. And what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and we are going to use a layers lights to generate our points. We're going to call these spotlights, and you see how we've just had some lines appear between our shape. We're going to go to Effector Noise. And we're going to make this a little bit more noisy so that this moves properly in space. We're going to increase our point size a little bit so they're a little bit more visible. We're going to animate some of our noise here as well, so on the first frame I'm going to click Animate. We're going to add a renderer for lines, and so we're going to make this about 2, and we're going to increase our vertices. We're going to increase our maximum distance. We're going to basically play with this until it looks good. Okay, we're going to go to our end here, and we're going to change our noise amplitude. And so what we end up with is we end up with some pretty interesting looking points generated. Alright, so let's just finish our comp here. What we're going to do is we're going to actually lower the opacity on this a little bit. And I'm just using a trial of Plexus, so I've got a red X over my view screen. If you want to not have a red X over your view screen, I recommend that you go ahead and buy the plugin. Alright, so we end up really quickly with something that looks pretty nice. And that is how you use Mocha to get your information into After Effects. Thanks again to Artbeats for letting us use this footage. And please remember, this is a free tracker that you have in After Effects CS4, CS5, CS5.5, CS6, and After Effects CC. As long as you practice and learn how to use the Planar Tracker, you will increase your productivity like you would not believe. So please pick it up, please play with it, go to Artbeats, check out Plexus, check out Mocha, and check out our upgrade paths. I am Mary Poplin with Imagineer Systems, and I really hope that you enjoyed our tutorial.